So we've got a draft happening outside the stadium that houses the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll talk around it. A lot happening. There is Adam Schefter had a fantastic. He does it every year. His Intel notebook where he kind of rounds up everything he's been hearing. Todd McShay of the Ringer Podcast Network has been dropping hints on the Rich Eisen show, on his own podcast. I love this time of year because it's just information. And then you listen to the Adam Peters press conference he had a couple of days ago now, and one of his best quotes was, "Nobody's telling the truth." And you just, as we get all of this, he's got to always have that in the back of your head. Nobody's telling the truth with any of this.
Yeah, and it's funny because you hear people say who they've spoken with, and last week when I was there, at Adam's press conference, afterwards when I was doing the show, I was in the bubble, and I try not to mention other people's names, but I was talking with a colleague who's there all the time, and ESPN guy, and we were kind of matching up notes, and matching up what we know, and it was eerily similar. A couple of things he had that I didn't, he didn't, and it was eerily similar, but it all traces back to Adam. So when you hear Adam say everyone's lying, you think to yourself, are you lying to us, Adam?
I mean, that's it. Like, he's talking about like this, that, we might do this, we might do that. And it's like, I'm going to take your own advice, Adam, and everybody is lying. And I'm not going to, and here's a question I have for you, because something Todd McShay is reporting a lot, and I think even Adam Schefter put it in his article on ESPN, where if Sonny Styles is there at 7, that's Dan Quinn's guy. We're seeing a lot of Dan Quinn's guy.
Correct. I do know that verbatim.
So it's Dan Quinn's guy, right?
Yes.
How involved is Dan Quinn in the draft process? If it is Dan Quinn's guy, will Adam Peters do that, or will Adam Peters make the best move for the Commanders?
There's only one player in this draft that if he's there at 7, everyone wants, and that's Jeremiah Love. But I can safely tell you from who I know in the building, who I've spoken with, that the two players that are highest on their board are Jeremiah Love and Sonny Styles. If Sonny Styles is there at 7, Washington will select him. However, if Sonny Styles and Jeremiah Love are sitting there at 7, Washington's taking Jeremiah Love. I can assure you that.
Man, it breaks my heart. That breaks my heart. I've been talking positional value. I won't bore you with positional value.
I know you're on that.
But man, the surplus value. But granted, if it's between a linebacker and a running back, I can't get too mad because linebackers also don't provide a ton of positional value. But
Jeremiah, it's a new day as far as the way they're going positional value.
And you can convince me for a Commanders draft pick to go offensive skill player, and this is no shot at Terry McLaurin. He's still very good, but he's also on the wrong end of 30, or I guess technically 31 this year, but in the NFL, that's the wrong end of 30, right?
Yes.
You only got him for maybe 2 years at the most. His extension was a whole headache last offseason. And then after that, you've got a lot of question marks down your line. Brandon Ayuk may or may not be traded.
He's going to be. But he's not getting traded.
You don't think he's going to get traded?
I know he's not getting traded.
They
post June 1st. I'm cut. That's what's going to happen.
We'll talk a little bit more about the Brandon Ayuk situation later on, because I got a soundbite from John Lynch, which was hilarious to me. And going back to how they've treated this whole thing, the season ends and he declares Brandon Ayuk will not play for the 49ers next season. All right, there goes all your leverage. I'm not going to trade for him. But so it's a bunch of question marks. You got Ayuk. Your running back room is Bill Krosky-Merritt, who had a lot of hoopla going into his rookie year. Didn't fully live up to that, but could be a good RB2 alongside maybe a Jeremiah Love. Yeah. Rashad White was signed. Yeah, a good RB2, RB3.
Yeah.
You could convince me Jeremiah Love would add a lot of oomph to that offensive depth chart.
It 100% would. And I'd say right now, Jerome Ford, who they brought in, he was with Cleveland for a while. And then, of course, Jeremy McNichols is back. So those 4 guys currently on the roster for Washington, their running back room today is better, at least on paper, than their running back room was last year.
Yeah.
Okay. none of those guys are Jeremiah Love. And that's no disrespect, because I like Rachaad White a lot. He's a starting running back in the NFL, and Rachaad White is, I think their intention is he's supposed to be Austin Eckler, a pass catching guy. But guess what? Jeremiah Love does that too, and he excels at that as well. So again, when you start talking about positional value and, do you pay a running back high if you draft them high? Listen, this draft isn't necessarily hitting a whole bunch of home runs out of the building. There's maybe 8, 9 guys, maybe 10 you can squeeze into being blue chippers. After that, there's a significant difference with those guys. The other guys are going to be good football players, but it may take them a year or two to develop. None of the top 10 guys are developing. They're going in and they're plug and play guys. So Jeremiah Love, to me, is the guy that for any team, he's the wild card in this whole draft.
I mean, he could go as high as 3rd overall.
Yes,
we've heard the Cardinals linked to him.
That would be stupid for them to do that.
Well, because that's the other part, right? The Commanders at least have their left tackle figured out for Laramie for at least the next 2 years. Yeah. They've got their right tackle figured out for the next 4 years under team control with Connerly. You've got some good interior guys as well. Like, you've got your offensive line figured out. And this was a team that was in the NFC Championship 2 years ago.
And more importantly, you've got your quarterback. Yeah. And who's the Cardinals quarterback?
Not Jacoby Brissett. He's in the middle of a holdout.
But see, So and again, James Conner and Algier, they're both under contract. They're still getting paid. I know Conner's hurt. They're still getting paid a good amount of money. And if you bring in another running back, your running back room could be somewhere around $30 million with nothing else out there. I mean, obviously you've got, your receiver, Chris,
Marvin
Harrison Jr. Yes.
Who's been a disappointment so far.
Well, exactly. But he's got to get a quarterback. So again, you don't build that way. You definitely don't draft a running back at 3 and you don't have other pieces out there. That would be silly for the Cardinals.
According to the Schefter draft intel stuff that he had going around, right, the Cardinals are trying desperately to trade down.
100%.
Something that I find really interesting with this draft, and it's something I feel like we talk about each and every year with these drafts, we're going to see a lot of trade movement early on in this draft. And it's like, well, it does take 2 to tango, right? Like, if everyone's looking to trade down, then no one's looking to trade down almost. Like, yeah, the Cardinals would love to trade down from the number 3 pick, but they're not going to take pennies on the dollar for their 3rd pick. And what team is willing to jump all the way up to 3rd when the 6th pick is available? Or I'll jump all the way up to 3rd when maybe the Giants will trade out of the 10th pick that they just got and accumulate more draft capital. Or maybe the Commanders, maybe Sonny Styles and Love are both off the board. They're willing to trade out of the 7th pick. With so many teams willing to trade down and with so many teams being vocal about wanting to trade down, feels like all that leverage is gone and we may not see a ton of trades in the first 10.
Well, I think the teams that are going to be making the moves are the teams that have multiple first-round draft picks this year. If you look at a team like the Cardinals, if you look at the Jets, if you look at the Dolphins, the Dolphins have 11 and 20. The Dolphins' 2 picks to me are the most enticing ones out of all of them, because 11 and 20, there's 9 picks in between, but you're early in the draft with both these things, both those picks. So if you're a team like Washington, and let's just say the Dolphins, let's just say Love is sitting there. Not going to take Love, because they have Achane. Yeah. But let's just say Jordan Tyson is sitting there, or Mekhi Lemon. I'm guaranteeing you one of those 2 receivers, if they're not gone before, will be a Miami Dolphin. Mark my words. One of those guys will be a Miami Dolphin because they need wide receivers in the worst way.
Yeah.
And I think it's Tyson. But I'm going to throw this out there at you. As far as Washington, David Blau was in Detroit.
I'm following.
And David Blau was helping put game plans in and all that stuff, outside him being a player.
Yeah.
Who also was in Detroit? That's a really good wide receiver.
Amon-Ra.
Who is his clone?
In this year's draft?
Absolute clone.
Who is it?
It's Mekhi Lemon.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I've seen Mekhi Lemon comp to Doug Baldwin, which I like as a Seahawks fan. And
more physical than Doug Baldwin.
A little more physical. So
he's Amon-Ra St. Brown clone. That's his idol. And they're both USC guys.
I did not know that was his idol.
Yeah. Just putting that out there for you.
at 7 could potentially be in play.
I don't know if he would be the guy you would take at 7,
but if you trade
but
back,
you could trade back.
I think trading back, because yesterday we were talking about a lot of the different scenarios the Commanders can do, and one of them that we have heard is if their guys aren't there, they could be in the market to move back. And I think even this is me coming from it from a very business perspective, very X's and O's and not emotional, because if you have Sonny Styles up on the board and you have the choice between trading back or taking Sonny Styles, my heart says
no. You got to take Sonny.
My heart says Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
My head though would really struggle with that, because just from an X's and O's, analytic standpoint, you only have 2 picks in the top 100 in this draft. Could trade out of 7, get another first rounder, maybe get a second and a third in there as well, depending on how rich you want to make that trade. All of a sudden, you go from 2 top 100 picks to 4 top 100 picks. You get more bites at the apple. The depth in this draft is showing through in rounds 2 and 3 on day 2. Now, it's really hard to say no to Sonny Styles as he's staring at you in the face.
It's tough. It's tough.
For the Commanders, if Styles is off the board, if Love is off the board, is there any other player? Do you think Caleb Downs could be in it, or do you think it's a trade down?
It
Carnell
would be
Tate?
Carnell Tate. Yeah. Because I know they like him a lot too.
There's something about those Ohio State receivers, and I know you as a Penn State guy probably pains you to hear it.
Oh, God.
Something about these Ohio State receivers. Once you got one, you want more of them. Keep them coming.
And the thing is that you really don't know how good Carnell Tate was at Ohio State because Jeremiah Smith was there.
Yeah.
He played with all these great Ohio State guys, Marvin Harrison Jr., JSN. I mean, they're all were there during this time frame, and he probably was the guy that, even though he produced at a epic rate, you really don't know. Is he really an X? Is he a Z? Like, what is he? He's a damn good football player. That's what he is. And if you're Washington, he's a guy that's comfortable being a 2.
Yeah, big time.
And he clearly will be a 2 in Washington. And oh, by the way, the guy who's the 1 there is from Ohio State too. So those little kind of bloodlines and those little things will help a guy, acclimate to the next level. And Washington does need another wide receiver. But see, this is the thing. I know Ayuk is coming. And now you're telling me that if you can go into next year with McLaurin, Tate, and Ayuk, that's a different looking wide receiver core right there.
Debo's still a free agent. You think he's gone?
I do. I thought that there was a chance that he could come back. He'd have to take a significant pay cut because remember, he's already on the books with Washington for $12 million this year.
Yeah, the dead cap hit.
The dead cap hit. So I just think that there's a chance, but really, where are you going to put him now? Because you have to think, you brought back De'Ami Brown. That's your deep ball guy. And one thing we know about Ayuk, if he were to be in Washington, he's a guy that kills people underneath. He's a technician all over the field, but in the middle of the field is where he excels. And if you were to draft Carnell Tate, where does he excel? Vertical. So yeah, where would Debo fit in?
It's a great question. Yeah. I think he seems like a wide receiver that's not going to be signed until like week 2 when some injuries hit a team, and then all of a sudden Debo sprouts up on the Ravens, and you're like, oh,
I see Debo back in San Francisco ironically.
Oh, that could also work for him. As they're trying to, it seems like with what they're doing, all their moves, they're trying to have one last push at a Super Bowl. They just re-signed Trent. All of that crazy
stuff. Shout out to Trent because
I thought he was out.
You know who Trent is? Trent is the worthy version. I mean, different positions, of course, but he's the worthy version of Kirk Cousins. No, I'm serious. Trent is always getting a bag. And it's like, didn't he just sign like last year?
He's got get you an agent that works as hard as Trent Williams' agent.
Yeah, but he's worthy because he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's still one of the top 2 or 3 tackles in all of football today.
Yes, 100%. And then you got Kirk Cousins. Also, if you could land yourself with the agent of Kirk or Trent, you're set for life. Yeah. Kirk's agent's just like, all we want is guaranteed money.
I mean, $37 million out of that 50 is guaranteed for Trent. That's for a guy who's held out.
30, how old is he? 38.
Yeah.
And you getting that much guaranteed money, that's good on you, agent. Good on
man.
you.
That's what you're supposed to do.
All right, we're going to get a quick break in. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more some NFL draft talk on this Tuesday morning as Lake Lewis Jr., host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show, joining us live in studio. Get your text in 804-327-0888 if you have any questions around the NFL draft. We'll be back with more right here on Fitz the Bill, 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Welcome back in Fitz the Bill right here on this Tuesday, April 21st morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Alan alongside, and we've got Lake Lewis Jr. here live in studio on this Tuesday morning, the Tuesday before the NFL draft up in Pittsburgh. Lake hosts the Lake Lewis Jr. Show each Tuesday and Thursday right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, 6 to 7 p.m. Lake, there are a lot of wide receivers in this year's draft. Typical. There's typically a lot of wide receivers in each and every draft.
Pretty much.
There's I've got them kind of tiered out, right? I have Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, tier 1, and then a bit of a tier drop, and that's where I've got your Denzel Bostons, Omar Cooper I really like. I like Elijah Surratt more than I like Omar Cooper.
Okay, not bad.
I'm going to say I'm biased, a JMU guy. He also played up in the 540 in Stafford, Virginia at Colonial Forge. So I got a little bias there. But this wide receiver group seems really interesting because in that first tier, right, with Tate, Lemon, and Tyson, it feels like, depending on who you talk to, they've got those three in a crazy amount of different orders.
Yeah, and I'm one of them because I have it. Literally, I have Lemon 1. That's the best receiver in this year's draft. I have Tyson at 2, but it's with an asterisk next to it because the guy has been injury prone.
Yes.
You don't want to think a young person is injury prone, and sometimes freak things happen in college and then you never see it again as a pro. But that's a big body guy. And big body guys normally carry, a little bit more baggage, a little bit more weight on them, and you're prone to injuries. So that's something that you have to be aware of if you're going to take a Jordan Tyson, who's a special player. And then there's Carnell Tate. And we just talked about that. Is Carnell Tate as good as he looked at Ohio State? Most Ohio State receivers are coached up well. Trust me, they get coached.
Amazing. Brian Hartline was a fantastic wide receiver coach.
Absolutely. So Carnell Tate's a good one, but if you're Washington, and we talked about that, he might be the guy for you at 7 if he's available, because I do know that they really think that they have to get a little bit more weapons on offense.
With the wide receiver position, you've got Tyson up there, very injury prone. Mekhi Lemon. I also have Casey Concepcion.
I like him a lot
up there as well. With Carnell Tate, though, potentially going there, do you think it matters at all that we talked about in the last segment, right, that he has the experience being the wide receiver too? Do you think that almost helps him in some scenarios if he goes high in the draft?
Of course it does. It does. And it takes a lot of pressure off of him to come in and be a 1 because, Mekhi Lemon, I think Mekhi Lemon ends up with the Rams, so that would take pressure off him.
I would hate that.
Oh, I'm sure you would for right reasons. But yeah, I think him and Puka and some of the guys there, it would take pressure off of him having to be the 1. Jordan Tyson, however, that's that other red flag, because if he goes to say Miami, he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver.
Yes.
The injury history. Can he hold sustain that? Exactly.
Because his injuries were interesting. He had the ACL, which in today's day and age, an ACL
can come back from that stronger.
Yeah, it's like a Tommy John almost. Like
it is.
We might start seeing people get preventative ACL surgeries.
I've said that for the last 5 years. You might have guys in high school just go ahead and get it done.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't tear it again, though.
And that's the scary part. Like typically,
you get Tommy John surgery, you're not getting that done twice, 3 times. You're not doing that.
No. So we'll table that. Maybe that's a business venture we can go into in the next couple of years when we can figure out how to make the ACL stronger on repair.
That should be called the Adrian Peterson injury.
He came back in 8 months from that injury too?
Yeah, and was faster, stronger, and led the league in rushing.
He was that's a robot of a human. But so you had Tyson had an ACL in there. I think one of his other injuries was a broken collarbone, which is also
that's
freak.
A freak, yeah.
And then I think the one that I think he had a hammy. I think he had a torn
that's what
hamstring.
He's dealing with now.
Yeah, so that's what scares me. Soft tissue injuries. I'm like, Okay. Once you get one hammy, if you don't get it perfect, you're going to get that again.
On a big body.
On a big body. That worries me about Tyson. I have him as a guy who I think is supremely talented. I would not touch with a 10-foot pole in my draft. I would rather have.
You mean early or at all?
If we're around 15, 16, 17,
you go grab him.
I would prefer Denzel Boston. I would prefer KC Concepcion. I would prefer some of those guys, and that's where I'd go with it. So we'll go on out to the phone lines. We've got Midlow Dan on line one. A draft question about the good old Cleveland Browns drafting 6th. They've been linked to a couple of trades. Mm-hmm. They've been a fun team to monitor because at 6, they're right before the Commanders, so they could really throw a wrench in what Washington's trying to do. Good morning, Midlow Dan. How are we doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself?
Doing well as well.
Yeah, listen, I'm loving the information I'm hearing this morning. This is great to hear all this. But I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the Browns, and I'm thinking of that one commercial that Samuel Jackson does where he's the chef in a restaurant and people at the table order one of everything. I think that's kind of where Cleveland is. They kind of need one of everything. It's depressing. It's kind of depressing because I'd like to see him do something, but man, I'm glad my Cavaliers are doing well, though.
Hey, you can hang your hat on that one, Midlow Dan.
Glass is half full. It's the right attitude to have, But I'm curious what you guys think about who, the Browns have a lot of options of what to take or trade down like you talked about before. So I'm curious what you guys think about that.
Yeah, appreciate you calling in, Midlow Dan. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. At 6, they were one of the first teams, right, that were kind of being rumored to be a trade down candidate. We heard now Arizona's getting in on it, maybe even the New York Jets. The Giants at 5 now have 2 picks in the top 10. Maybe they want to dump one of them. Probably not, because you can really change your entire team with a couple of picks. But Cleveland is still there at 6 as a team that could move down, and the Cowboys have been rumored to want to jump up if 100%. Sonny Styles starts falling a little bit. The Cowboys have reportedly loved Sonny Styles, as have, it seems like, everyone. Sonny Styles is this year's biggest mover. Every year you have a guy pre-combine. Sonny Styles was a late teens type of draft pick. He's jumped up to be a top 5 lock, it feels like. What do you think Cleveland does? Because they got a lot of needs, right? They need offensive linemen, both tackles, both guards, both centers. They need a linebacker, maybe not a linebacker, but they need every other defensive position. Need a quarterback, need a running back, need a wide receiver. They got tight end figured out, but outside of that, they need everything.
They need everything. 6-24. That's their order this year in first round. If you're 6-24 and you're Cleveland, can you somehow finagle that 6th pick into maybe Dallas's 2 first rounders? And now you have 3 first rounders if you're Cleveland. That's the kind of stuff they need to be thinking about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the caller who called in just now, being a Cleveland fan, would want that, because they're not going anywhere over the next year or two. They've got a lot of work to do. They still have to determine if Shador is their quarterback, or is it Dylan Gabriel, or is it Watkins?
Deshaun Watson.
Watson. Yeah. Deshaun Watson.
We haven't seen him play for 4 years.
We haven't, and when he was good, he was great. But we all know after the massages and all that stuff, it just didn't do what it was supposed to do for his career. So we'll leave that alone. But I will say this: I think it's Shador. I think Shador is going to get an opportunity, a fair opportunity.
Pro Bowl quarterback Shador Sanders right there.
I don't know about all that. That's just goes to show you how bad that Pro Bowl setup is. But with that being said, he's going to be the quarterback. I don't think anyone doubts that. But you got to get him some weapons if you want to really assess him. So do you stay at 6 and take a Carnell Tate? I think that's on the board. Do you stay at 6? Do you take a Jordan Tyson? I think that's on the board.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Or do you trade back because you can get a KC Concepcion, you can get a Boston, and you can get an offensive lineman. I think it's 6 if you're Cleveland. And if you stay at that spot, you've got to take one of those tackles. You have to.
Yes.
100%.
Whether it's Francis Mauigoa from Miami, Spencer Fano from Utah,
or Caden Proctor, whoever.
You got 6, you want to take one of those.
You got to take one. You don't take Caden Proctor at 6, but you have to take one of those other guys. I think Fano's a mid first rounder, by the way, too.
If I'm Cleveland, I think the fact that he's a tackle has pushed him up quite a ways. I would prefer the Penn State guard, Vega Ioane.
Of course.
And so if I'm Cleveland, and I think if I'm a team that is in their similar spot, which are a lot of teams drafting early on, where you don't have your quarterback figured out, I'm looking ahead to next year. All right, Dallas, you want my 6th overall pick. Maybe I don't get 2 firsts from you this year, but I want your first this year. We'll do a pick swap. I want the better of your 2 picks this year, and I want your first next year. Because the Falcons set that precedent a year ago. Granted, the Falcons were trading back into the first. Right. They weren't trading one of their firsts, but you know what team's going to use that as leverage from last year? And they said, well, the Rams a year ago, they traded a first rounder and they got 2 firsts back for it. So that's what I want this year. And that's where a lot of conversations are going to start. And for some odd reason, NFL teams typically do not value future draft picks as much as they value current draft picks. So if I'm a team like Cleveland, I don't have my quarterback figured out. I want as much draft capital as humanly possible for next year's draft, because it is the year of the QB next year. Of course, this was supposed to be the year of the QB, and we got Fernando Mendoza. But next year, it does actually look like we'll have some really good quarterback options. If I'm a team that doesn't have my quarterback figured out, let me just try and get as many picks in 27. And that way, if I'm the 5th overall pick, I can package and get to the 2. I can package and get to the 1 and get my quarterback next year.
See, I'm saying it for this year. If you're Cleveland and Dallas calls, or the Jets or whoever, I want both your first this year, because
you're in a hard bargain.
Well, the reason why I say that is because I can't guarantee you that I'm going to get to Pittsburgh tomorrow. In life, I'm just saying. Nothing's guaranteed.
Like Kyle Shanahan when he's like, we might not wake up tomorrow.
That's what I mean. You don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
I plan on it, babe. I plan on being here with you tomorrow. But the thing is, you just don't know. And so with that said, one thing I do know is that I don't know how appealing Dallas's first round pick looks next year, because they could be a playoff team and it could be a low first round pick. So I want your stuff this year. You sucked last year. I want your stuff this year.
Yeah.
And if you want to move up to 6, let's talk. Let's do it. If I'm Washington and someone says, hey, I'm interested in your 7, then if you're the Dolphins, well, I want 11 and 20. That's the only way I'm entertaining it.
Yeah. It's going to be, Cleveland's got a ton of options. They've got a ton of options right now. If I'm also Cleveland, I may try to make a move sooner rather than later before the draft starts on Thursday.
Yeah,
because you could lose a ton of leverage the second the Cardinals move out of 3, the Jets maybe move out of 2,
yeah.
and it could kind of all blow up right in front of you, and you could watch your entire draft board crumble. But we got a text about Jeremiah Love. We'll get to that on the other side of this break. We'll squeeze a break in, be back with more Fitz the Bill right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill on this Tuesday morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside Lake Lewis Jr. joining us here on this Tuesday morning as he gets set for the NFL draft later this week. Host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. You can hear it each and every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. We got a text in from Bruce. Good morning, Fitz, Allen, and Lake. I have been a Jeremiah Love best player in the 2026 draft for a minute.
Smart man.
Do you guys see J Love? I kind of like that nickname, J Love, going to the Cardinals at 3.
Yes.
Connor has battled injuries since leaving the Steelers. Now all the Cardinals would need is a proven QB on the offensive side of the ball. Your thoughts? So I'll throw it to you this way. Trade down or J Love?
Personally, I would trade down, but I would not be shocked if they take him at 3, because that's the grumblings that we're starting to hear in our world. They're really high on him.
Titans are really high on J Love too, right? Or is that
they are?
Has that smoke dissipated?
No. They absolutely are. But I think that they're also, I think of Robert Saleh, the coach there now, and he had a guy in San Francisco by the name of Fred Warner, and there's a clone of him in this year's draft in Sonny Styles. So bingo.
Yeah. Remember when we were in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine and we were like, man, Sonny Styles at 7. It feels like it may be a slight reach, but he's just impressing everyone at the Combine. He's great. And now here we are a month later, and it has become Sonny Styles might go as high as 4 to the Titans.
Somebody mentioned
crazy.
Sonny Boom Boom Styles.
Sonny Boom Boom Styles.
Okay.
He could be as high as 2.
That's my guy.
You just don't know with this year's group, but there's 7 to 8 guys that whoever you get, you're getting one.
Sonny Boom Boom Styles is
Giants.
Out of all
Giants.
I really thought when the Commander, I was like, Commanders at 7, they could get it. They'll get them at 7. Maybe this is me reaping way too much praise on Sonny Styles at this point, but I think out of the guys in this year's draft, there are 2 potential Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
And in this era of talk radio, you got to go a little crazy with it. But it's Caleb Downs.
There's 3.
Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles. And you think Jeremiah Love?
And Jeremiah Love.
I just struggle with Jeremiah Love.
Why?
Because last year we were saying the same stuff about Ashton Genty, and Genty landed with a horrible organization with the Raiders, and he flamed out, and he still got hope. But like, if
I'm gonna just please let me just chime in real quick.
Please, because convince me.
I was
Jeremiah
the
Love.
guy that was saying I'm not sure about Genty.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because, no offense to Boise, but he was playing at Boise.
Yeah. Mountain West is different
It's
than
different from playing independent ACC or
Big
what
10,
Notre
Big
Dame,
12.
Big
Yeah.
10. Yeah. And I saw Genty go up against Penn State's defense, and he got bottled up. He still had over 100, but he got bottled up.
Yeah.
Okay. You've never seen Jeremiah Love get bottled up, ever. And Jeremiah Love has something that Ashton Genty doesn't. Hands. He can catch a football with the best of them. The guy is special. And to run a 4.36, we were there in Indy, and his dad was a little upset about it. Like, he thought he was going to run 4.2. Just the fact that he thought he was going to run a 4.2, that's scary.
I think what my worry is with Sonny Styles and with running backs is that it is so team dependent.
You mean Jeremiah Love?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
With Jeremiah Love.
Uh-huh.
It is so team dependent. And for Ashton Genty, he went to a team that was not ready to plug a running back into that system, and it blew up in their faces. For the Tennessee Titans, I don't think they are ready to put a Jeremiah Love into that team. Offensive line has some question marks. Cam Ward is good.
They have their quarterback.
But they have their quarterback, but they don't have wide receivers.
But
look at the
Jeremiah
Cardinals.
Love is a wide receiver too. He's a Jameer Gibbs.
Sure. But if I'm the defense, I don't have to worry about anyone else but that one guy in the backfield. I'm bringing 8 in the box, and you're not doing jack bleep to me with that.
Well, doesn't Tennessee have a young wide out?
They drafted one last year in like the 5th round, and he was good.
Yeah, I think that they would have. I mean, obviously, you need to protect your quarterback. I get that, but what are you protecting him for?
You're right, to get the ball out to playmakers, and Brian, right now Tennessee needs a playmaker. Right. But with the Cardinals too, I just do not feel like they are a running back away from being in it. So to Bruce's question, I'm trading out of that pick. I'm getting as much draft capital because the Cardinals are in disarray.
Yeah, the Cardinals, if they took Love, that, like we said, that would be dumb.
That would be bad business on their part.
It would be.
Titans, I think they still have moves to make to be a Jeremiah Love away. But I get the argument that you need playmakers for your young quarterback.
You can go out in free agency and get another wide receiver.
Maybe you trade for A.J. Brown. We'll get to that in a little bit.
That's a done deal. He's in New England.
Yeah, we got Dolphin Dave on line 1. Good morning, Dolphin Dave. How are we doing? A question about Miami, I assume?
Yeah, Lake, do you think there's any way they could parlay number 11 to a late round first and maybe pick up a second? And, they'll move back? Because the one thing the coach did say is we're going to build through the draft. And we already got a lot of draft picks. You think he would do that, and anybody would bite and say, we'll take your 11, and we'll give you our late round first, and we'll give you a second, and you think it'd be worth doing it?
Yeah, I do. And I know, we had spoken, you and I, and you had mentioned, you keep those picks, and I agree, but I do think it may not be 11, Dave. It actually might be 20, because I do know that they like.
Hey,
Go ahead.
How did we get to 20? I thought we were 30.
I thought it was. I'm sorry. You're correct. It's 11 and 30. I'm thinking of Cleveland or someone. So with 30 though, you might be able to, believe it or not, you might be able to move that and get a second and a third. that's something that you might want to consider, because that 30th pick it's so late. You know, you basically it's a second rounder. Exactly.
But that 30th pick may be open for business.
Value. It does have value.
Something that is being talked about a lot in this year's draft is someone moving back up into the first round to get Ty Simpson, or maybe someone else, but it's mostly Ty Simpson. Because in the first round, you have the 5th-year option that gets tacked on to the end of the rookie contract, something no other round has. So you're the Dolphins right there at 30.
It's a saving grace for you because you're cap strong.
Yeah, someone starts sniffing around, you get a good pick, or you have a lot of value in that pick. That's why the 32nd pick, I expect the Seahawks to trade out of it for a team that is willing to want to get back in and get Ty Simpson, so we have a 5th year with him.
So I'll throw this out there for Dolphin Dave. At 11, the Dolphins could move back a couple picks with that, and maybe take a guy like Concepcion from Texas A&M, because they have to get a wide receiver in this draft, and they preferably have to get one in the first round, because after the first round, an early second round, that's it. there's a significant drop. They could get the kid Boston from Washington, you know, so that could be something.
Yeah.
Is Dave still with us?
Oh, appreciate you calling in, Dolphin Dave. Hopefully we answered the question. I think there's a lot of options for Miami to go, and they're another team that has a whole heck of a lot of needs. I mean, although they may be the first team we've ever seen tank.
They don't have money right now.
They won't.
They're paying it to Tua. They're paying it to Tariq Hill, and none of them are on the roster. Jayden Waddle might still have a little something.
I think he's got a little bit of money coming from the Miami Dolphins too, and he's over there in Denver now. I mean, they don't have a wide receiver. Their running back has been rumored to be traded as well.
That would be stupid. I love that kid, by the way.
He's good.
I think he's the top 5 running back in the league right now.
I would agree.
Could be top 3 or 4. I mean,
he's got top end speed, breakaway ability. He hits a lot of home runs. He averages like 5 yards a carry.
Do you know who he reminds me of?
This could go
you're gonna love this analogy, because
is it a football player?
Oh yeah.
Is it a? Can I guess the era of running back it's from?
He's in today's game.
Okay, who does he remind you of?
He reminds me of Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, see, I would not have gone there.
And you know why people don't go there? Because normally when they think of a white player, they comp a white player, or
Christian McCaffrey reminds me of Toby Gerhart.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, really, you've never seen Christian McCaffrey. Okay, no, I do. I think that they're versatile backs in their speed. They're playmakers. Christian McCaffrey can catch the ball at the backfield with the best of them. This kid can do that as well, and this year they're going to need him to do that.
Yeah, they're going to need him to do it. You're going to need him to do a little bit of everything.
Exactly.
We're going to get our last break in, and then to wrap things up, I do want to throw a take I have that I've been talking to. Alan's probably tired of me bringing it up, but I want to throw a take by you to wrap up today's show. That's coming up next on Fitz the Bill.
Another free one. Thanks, dog. You always hook me up.
Another hour of the fun stuff on deck.
Another one of your nonsensical rambling stories.
And another round for everyone on me. I don't want to hear another peep.
Okay, all right, here's another one.
Another thing before we get up on out of here with Lake, I want to throw a take I have by you, and it's a take I hear a lot of people say. We need to have the NFL draft like the first week of March, right after the Combine. Because we get so much, like Adam Peters, we started today going, everybody's lying, and we're getting so much with it all right now. And I'm saying this because we've seen Sonny Styles go from a mid-teens player to a top 5 pick potentially. We've seen Caleb Downs be regarded as the number 1 prospect in this year's draft to now maybe being a 15th overall pick. He may slide down depending on how it all shakes up.
Yeah.
You know what's changed between then and now, Lake? Nothing.
Just the lies have compounded themselves.
Like, it feels like every year we get into this talk off, which is fair. We got 2 months to kill after the Combine, which is why I think the Combine should be like the first Friday in March after the Combine.
The reason why that's never going to happen is because the league stretches everything out for advertising, for dollars, for interest.
Yeah.
And it works because we're talking about it. And people are calling in excited. Over the next 2 days, it's going to be insane. I'm just afraid my flight, out of, Richmond tomorrow morning,
Direct
to Pittsburgh. I actually got to go to Dulles and then be in Pittsburgh. But the total time for everything is 2 hours, 10 minutes. Yeah. So literally I'll be in Pittsburgh. I touch down in Pittsburgh at 9 a.m. Tomorrow morning. So I I'm okay with that. It was either that or drive up to Dulles and then, no, I don't want to feel like I need to do all that. All right. So I think that over the next 2 days, you're going to hear some crazy stuff. I mean, someone asked me, is Deron Payne getting traded? And I'm like, well, no, he's not. But, those are the type of things that are going to happen. The NFL, because of the salaries now going up, and you've seen some of these big time, salaries go up, it's getting ready to start taking on a life of Major League Baseball and the NBA.
Yeah.
There's going to be wholesale trades starting to happen. I'm not saying that all that's going to happen over the next 2 days, but we were just talking about the Patriots and Philadelphia seemingly have something in store for us post June 1st. Okay. But they've already talked it out. So what is it going to be? Is it going to be the Patriots 31st going to Philadelphia? Well, you can't do that. You can't announce a trade and not do it. So it's probably for future considerations, probably, first next year or second and third next year. But it kind of leads you to believe, are they picking for someone? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that.
Oh, we can't trade the 31st pick. We're going to do a post June 1 trade. But if just magically we take the Eagles pick at 31
and Boston from Washington,
and he's part of the trade,
an AJ Brown clone.
Yeah. Like,
come on, man.
That's going to get real interesting. And I wouldn't put it past Howie Roseman, who's one of the most shrewd general managers in the NFL.
I can't comment on
You can't. I think he is one of the best general managers in the NFL. I'll say that. And I think if he
had to learn to be that, though.
Yeah, he did.
He was on his way out in Philadelphia.
I remember COVID year when I was working at CBS, a bunch of my coworkers were Eagles fans. And every day we'd get Slack messages.
They wanted him out.
He goes, I woke up and Howie Roseman's my general manager today.
He passed on Justin Jefferson for Jalen Rager.
Yeah,
you can never forget that.
He's had some eggs on his
face. Jalen Rager, I don't even think he's in the USFL, right? I think Jalen Rager, if I'm not mistaken, the other day at Kroger, I think it was.
You saw Jalen Rager?
It was like, did you want plastic or paper? No, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. But listen, when you're a first round draft pick, you should be in the NFL still.
Yeah. When you were taking over Justin Jefferson, you should be still. He took Jalen Rager over Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf. How's that working out for him?
That's like, wow. Yeah.
He took JJ Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf. I think that's what that one was.
But you know what he's going to say? Do any of them have a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And I've got 2 of them.
Which is why I say he has morphed into one of the most shrewd general managers. He would not do anything that would break the rules because I don't think he's dumb.
No.
But if there's a loophole in the rule book somewhere, Howie Roseman's going to exploit it.
Yeah, because you normally don't hear deals done like this, of this magnitude. Yeah,
which makes me, this whole situation with AJ Brown and the Patriots has been quite the story,
and you knew this was coming
on the back pages of newspapers right now.
You and I we talked about this in Indy. You knew this was coming, but to be said a month and a half before June 1st,
I want to know. Adam Schefter, he's got some of the best sources in the game. You always have to kind of when you're getting stuff from the insiders, you got to know who you're getting the information from.
Yeah, we do.
Who's telling Lake? Who's telling Adam? Is it the player? Is it the coach? And what is the story they want out there? I'll say that off the top. But Adam Schefter's got some of the best sources in the league. And whoever is leaking to him that this trade is happening,
it's Howie.
You think it's Howie?
Of course
I think it's the Patriots side of it because the Eagles now have lost all leverage in this situation.
Or it could be AJ Brown's agent.
Yeah, I think it's AJ Brown. I think it's either AJ Brown or someone within the Patriots organization leaking it. Because the people who benefit from this information being out is AJ Brown and the Patriots. The Eagles have now lost all leverage in this, and no team is going to give them a call because they've already finalized a deal with the Patriots.
Well, this is the thing. A deal can't be finalized until June 1st. So maybe it is Howie because guess what? It raises the stakes.
Yeah.
If you want AJ,
Man, like I didn't think about that side of it. Now it's a whole. My brain's
Maybe
in
if
a
you're
pretzel.
the Dolphins, you might give up 11-30.
That'd be a horrible.
That would be. Listen, Dolphin Dave would. I think we wouldn't hear from Dolphin Dave ever again.
I think he'd be crying into his Dolphins jersey with. Oh, that would be
the nearest bridge.
Terrible. That would be just terrible. But it's that's a crazy storyline of it all. And
Cleveland
for AJ Brown. I think they're a team that needs so much. Midlow Dan, I think, would also be crying.
20 for AJ Brown.
I would give 20 up.
Yeah, of course. Not 6.
Yeah. I'd give shout out to that AJ Brown trade with the Titans, though, because you traded a first rounder for AJ Brown, Howie Roseman did. And now you are likely going to profit 4 years later, 2 Super Bowl appearances later, and a Super Bowl win. Just shrewd GMing, and that's why a lot of GMs won't even pick up the phone.
I just go back to Ole Miss. AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, and was it Elijah Moore?
I think so. And how many?
Oh my God!
And they did nothing with that.
They did nothing.
All right, that'll do it for Fitz the Bill. Lake, thank you so much for stopping by. Have a safe travel up to Pittsburgh. We'll have him tonight, 6 to 7 p.m. Lake Lewis Jr. Show. So much more coming. We are where Richmond talks sports, so keep it locked on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.